Make a career of living a happy life rather than trying to find work that will produce enough money that you can do things with your money that will then make you happy. When feeling happy is of paramount importance to you, and what you do for a living makes you happy, you've found the best of all combinations. You can become very good at feeling good under all conditions. But when you become good at reaching for your vibrational balance first, and then attract circumstances and events to yourself from that happy place, your potential for sustained happiness is much greater. 147. What do you do for a living? Most people do feel a need to justify their existence through effort or work. And that is perhaps the reason why the first question that you ask one another upon meeting for the first time is, "What do you do for a living?" Quote, "When you are in vibrational alignment, which means that you're in alignment with the source within you, and that your own desires and beliefs are in balance, you never feel a need to justify to another." Many people attempt to justify their behavior or ideas to others, but it's never a good idea to use the opinions of others as the guide that you're seeking alignment with rather than your own guidance system. Many people early on in your experience attempt to demand your compliance with their rules and opinions. But if you allow what they want to be central to the decisions that you make, you only get further and further out of alignment with who you really are and with the intentions that you were born with, as well as those that have evolved from the life experience you're living. You will never experience the deliciousness of feeling free until you release your desire to please others and replace it with your powerful intention to align with who you really are, to your source, by caring how you feel, and choosing good feeling thoughts that let you know you've found your alignment. When you sense that someone is disapproving of you, or attacking you, it's a natural response to defend yourself, but the need to defend will quickly subside when you've trained yourself into alignment with your inner being, because all feelings of vulnerability will have been replaced with that sure-footed sense of who you really are. No matter what choices you make, there will always be someone who does not agree with those choices. But as you find your balance and maintain your alignment, most who are observing you will be more inclined to ask you what your secret to success is rather than criticizing you for being successful. And those who continue to criticize you would find no satisfaction in your justification, no matter how compelling your argument is. It is not your role to fix the feeling of lack within others. It is your role to keep yourself in balance. When you allow your society or even one other person to dictate to you what you should want or how you should behave, you'll lose your balance. Because your sense of freedom, which is core to your very beingness, is challenged. When you pay attention to the way you feel and you practice self-empowering thoughts that align with who you really are, you will offer an example of thriving that will be of tremendous value to those who have the benefit of observing you. You cannot get poor enough to help poor people thrive or sick enough to help sick people get well. You only ever uplift from your position of strength and clarity and alignment. 148. The law of attraction and career. Those who are seeking prestige have replaced their own guidance system with seeking approval from others. And that is rather unfulfilling way to live, because the onlookers you're seeking to please do not sustain long-lasting attention upon you. Most people do care more about what others think about them than they do about how they personally feel, but there is no consistency in that form of guidance. Some people worry that if they selfishly consider what makes them happy above all other things, they will be uncaring and unfair to those around them. But we know the opposite is true. When you care about your alignment with Source, which is represented by the way you feel, and you work to maintain your connection, anyone who is then your object of attention receives benefit from your gaze. You cannot uplift another unless you're connected to the stream of well-being yourself. We understand that it can feel very good when others hold you as their object of attention, as they're feeling appreciation for you, because they're then doing exactly what we were just explaining to you. In their appreciation of you, they're connected to Source and showering it all over you. But to ask others to always be in alignment with Source and to always hold you as their object of attention so that you can be showered with the well-being they're providing, is not practical. Because you cannot control their connection and you will not always be their only object of attention. You do, however, have absolute control over your own connection to Source. And when your dominant intent is to maintain your connection, while leaving others out of that equation, then you will be free of trying to please others, which you cannot consistently do, and you will be able to maintain a consistent connection and feeling of well-being. An interesting thing to note is, those who care about how they feel, who consistently hold themselves in an attitude of good feeling emotions, who are connected to source and flowing positive thoughts outward toward whatever they're focused upon, are usually seen by others to be attractive, and they're often the recipients of much appreciation and approval. You just cannot get the approval you seek from the place of needing it or from the place of lack of it. An office with a wonderful window view, or a parking place with your name on it, or an impressive title attached to your name cannot fill the void caused by not being in alignment with who you really are. When you achieve that alignment, those things feel less important, but then, interestingly enough, they come anyway. 149. Filling my void through service. Jerry, during my 20 years in a wide variety of positions in the entertainment industry, I really had a lot of fun. It required only a few hours of my time, and I had a lot of adventurous challenges because I had so many new experiences. And yet I often told people that I felt like I was walking across the sands of life, but when I looked back, I wasn't leaving any tracks. In other words, I felt like I was bringing my audiences some temporary pleasure, but I wasn't leaving them with anything of permanent value. Do we all inherently have those drives to uplift others? Do they come from some other level of ourselves? Or do we just pick up those intentions to make other people feel better from others around us once we've been born into this physical environment? Abraham, you're born wanting to be of value, wanting to uplift. And you're born understanding that you have value. Most of that feeling of lack that you were describing was not about your not being able to provide lasting value to others, but because your thoughts were keeping you away from your own personal alignment. It works like this. When you're in alignment with who you really are, with your inner being, or source, you cannot help but uplift those with whom you come into contact. And in that alignment you do not notice so many others who are not in alignment. The lower does not surround you with dissatisfied people when you are satisfied. And the lower does not surround you with satisfied people when you are dissatisfied. You simply cannot compensate for your own misalignment by offering more time or energy or action. You cannot find ideas that are effective enough to make up the difference. Your value to those around you hinges upon only one thing, your personal alignment with Source. And the only thing that you have to give another is an example of that alignment, which they may observe, and then desire, and then work to achieve, but you cannot give it to them. The entertainment that you provided to your audiences was actually a much bigger gift than you were able to acknowledge at the time, for you were providing distraction from troubling things. And in the absence of your audience members' attention to their problems, they did achieve, in many cases, temporary alignment with Source. But you can't go with each of them, holding yourself as their only object of attention, in order to maintain their good feeling. Everyone is responsible for the thoughts they think and the things that they choose as their objects of attention. All of you have deep within you an understanding that you're here as joyous creators, and you're always being called toward that fulfillment. But there is not a long list of requirements that you're expected to accomplish. Your intention was to let your physical environment inspire your never-ending ideas of expansion or desire. And then you intended to align with the source energy within you for the achievement of those ideas. In other words, you knew your desires would be born from your participation here, and then once the desire was alive within you, you could focus your thoughts until you accomplished a feeling of expectation, and then your desire would come to fruition. The primary role that others and you play in that equation for creation is, they provide variety from which your desires are born. It was not your intention to measure your value against the value of others, but to be inspired to new ideas by the combination of things going on around you. Any comparison to others is only meant to inspire expanded desire. It was never intended as a means to diminish you or to discount your value. Your life is not about what you will do after work, or on the weekend, or after you retire. Your life is happening now. And it is really represented by how you're feeling now. If your work feels unpleasant, or unfulfilling, or hard, it is not because you're standing in the wrong place, but because your perspective is clouded by contradicted thought. You cannot have a happy ending to a journey that has not been pleasant along the way. The end absolutely does not justify the means. The means, or the path along the way, always brings about the essence of an identical ending. 150. Will my success uplift others? Jerry, Abraham, my freedom has always been what was most important to me, so I've never been willing to give much of it up for money. I always said that I had very little interest in money because I wasn't willing to give up my freedom for it. But then, over time that, leaving no footprints in the sand, feeling made me question if there wasn't really something more to life than just having fun. So, shortly after that awareness, I found the book Think and Grow Rich. And even though the idea of thinking or of growing rich was something that I would have denied having interest in, the book got my attention and I felt a strong draw toward it. I picked it up and the hair actually stood up on my body as if I'd found something that would have some major meaning in my life. The book said, make a decision about what you want. It was a seemingly simple statement, but I felt the power of it in a strange and new way. So, for the first time in my life I consciously started making decisions about what I wanted and writing them down. I want to be self-employed, I want a business of my own, I want no place of business, I don't want my foot nailed to the floor, I want no employees, I don't want that kind of responsibility, what I want is freedom. I wanted to be able to control my income. I wanted to be mobile so that I could travel or be anywhere that I wanted to be. I wanted my work to be something where every life I touched I elevated in some way or just let people be where they were, but that no one would ever be diminished as a result of knowing me. People used to laugh when I'd tell them that. They'd say, "Oh, Jerry, you're such a dreamer. There's no such thing as that." And I said, "Well, there has to be." Emerson had said, "You wouldn't have the desire if you didn't have the ability to achieve it." And I believed that. And so, I really expected somewhere along the line opportunities to show up. And so, within about 30 days of my clarifying what I wanted, I met a man who showed me a business that I could take to California and start, and that answered everything I was asking for. And so, for the next years of my life that business really took hold, and, again, it fulfilled the essence of everything that I'd written down that I wanted. 151. I want freedom, growth and joy. Jerry, I didn't say it had to be something I was capable of doing, or that I had the talent or the ability or the intelligence for. I just said, this is what I want. Can any of us have that? Can any of us have whatever we want once we clarify what it is we want? Abraham, yes. If this life experience has inspired the desire within you, this life experience has the wherewithal to fulfill it down to the very last detail. You'd been coming to those decisions about what you wanted over a long period of time because of the life experiences that you'd been living. Your decision point of focusing upon those decisions and writing them down in a comprehensive manner caused an emphasizing of your belief regarding them. And when your desires and beliefs come together, expectation occurs. And once expectation for anything is within you, it then comes quickly into your experience. Being free was the most important element in the desires that you'd held for some time. And when you saw something that you believed would not threaten your desire for freedom, but had the potential of bringing income, you then allowed your desire for more income to expand, where previously anything that you perceived as having the potential to dampen your freedom, you repelled immediately. You are all born with the triad of intentions pulsing within you: freedom, growth and joy. Freedom is the basis of that which you are, because everything that comes to you comes in response to the thoughts you think. And no one has control over the thoughts that you think other than you. When joy is your dominant quest, so that you gently train your thoughts into alignment with who you really are, all resistance subsides. And then you allow the expansion, or growth, that your life experience has inspired within you. 152. I want my life to feel good. When choosing a career or when doing the things that your work currently requires, if your dominant intent is to feel joy while you are doing the work, your triad of intentions will come quickly and easily into alignment, because in your accomplishment of feeling good you come into complete alignment with the broader non-physical aspects of your being. That alignment then allows the expansion toward all of the things that your life has helped you to identify that you want. So your growth becomes swift and satisfying. Freedom is the basis of your life experience. It's not something that you have to earn. Joy is your objective. And growth is the result of all of that. But if you believe that you are unworthy and you set out to prove worthiness through action, you cannot find your balance. Often we explain this perfect triad of intentions of freedom and growth and joy. But most physical beings then turn their attention immediately to the idea of growth and their misguided attempt of proving worthiness that has never been in question. You have nothing to prove to anyone, and nothing to justify. Your reason for existence needs no justification, for your very existence is justification enough. 153. I create my own joyous career. We would like you to see your career as one of creating a joyful life experience. You are not a creator of things or a regurgitator of what someone else has created or a gatherer of stuff. You are a creator, and the subject of your creation is your joyful life experience. That is your mission. That is your quest. That is why you are here. 154. Is it immoral to get without giving? The question still implies that there is a price to pay for the well-being that flows to you. And that some sort of action is required to justify the flowing of the well-being. And that's not the case. It's not necessary or possible to justify the well-being that flows to you, but it is necessary to align with the well-being. You cannot focus upon lack of well-being and allow well-being into your experience. Many people focus upon unwanted things with no deliberate attention to the emotional guidance within him, and then they try to compensate for their lackful thinking with physical action. And because of the misalignment of energy, they don't get the results from their actions. So then they try harder, offering more action, but still things don't improve. Like the air you breathe, abundance in all things is available to you. Your life will simply be as good as you allow it to be. If you believe that you must work hard for the abundance that comes to you, then it cannot come without hard work. But in so many cases, the harder you work, the worse you feel, and the worse you feel, the more you disallow the results that you wanted to receive from your hard work. It's no wonder so many people are discouraged and do not know which way to turn. Because it seems that no matter what they do, they don't thrive. Appreciation and love and alignment to that which is source is the ultimate giving back, so to speak. In your pain or struggle, you have nothing to give back. Many complain of unfairness or injustice when they see some people receiving greatly, but offering seemingly little effort, while others who work very hard often show very little success. But the lower is always consistently just. What you're living is always an exact replication of your vibrational patterns of thought. Nothing could be more fair than life as you're living it. Because as you're thinking, you're vibrating, and as you're vibrating, you're attracting. And so you always get back the essence of what you're giving. What most people are doing with most of their lives is offering action to try to compensate for vibrational imbalance. In other words, they think so much of things they do not want, and in doing so, they prevent what they do want from easily flowing into their experience. And then they try to compensate for the misalignment through action. If you would tend to your vibrational alignment first, by recognizing the value of your emotions, and trying to focus upon things that feel good, you would benefit tremendously by that alignment, and wonderful things would flow to you with far less action. The majority of action that is offered today is offered amidst tremendous vibrational resistance. And that is the reason why so many people have come to believe that life is a struggle. It's also the reason why many, like you, believe that success and freedom are at odds with one another, when in reality they are actually synonymous. It's not necessary to take money out of the equation, but it is necessary that you make your quest for joy be the most dominant part of your equation. When you do that, abundance in all manner will flow to you. 155. Welcome to planet Earth. If we were talking to you on your first day of physical experience, we could be of great advantage to you, because we would say, welcome to planet Earth. There is nothing that you cannot be or do or have. And your work here, your lifetime career, is to seek joy. You live in a universe of absolute freedom. You are so free that every thought you think will attract unto you. As you think thoughts that feel good to you, you will be in harmony with who you really are. And so, utilize your profound freedom, seek joy first, and all of the growth that you could ever imagine will come joyously and abundantly unto you. But this is not the first day of your life experience. In most cases, you're hearing this long after you've been convinced that you're not free, and that you're unworthy, and that you must prove through your action that you are worthy of receiving. Many of you are currently involved in careers or work that you do not find pleasing. But you feel that you cannot just walk away, because the financial repercussions would cause even greater discomfort than what you're already experiencing. Many others who do not currently have work that is producing income feel the discomfort of having no means of support, or no promise of future security. But no matter where you're currently standing, if you will make a decision to look at the positive aspects of where you are right now, you will stop the offering of resistance, which is the only thing that's holding you apart from what you desire. You don't have to go back and undo anything, or beat up on yourself for what you have not yet accomplished. If you could, in a sense, regard this moment as the beginning of your life experience, doing your best to resist the bad feeling resistant thoughts of unworthiness, or resentment that often surround the subject of money, your financial picture would begin to change right now. You only have to say, "Here I am, on the first day of the rest of my physical life experience, and it is my dominant intent from this moment forward to look for reasons to feel good. I want to feel good. Nothing is more important to me than that I feel good." 156. Most important is feeling good. Often there are things in your work environment that are not conducive to feeling good, and often you believe that your only chance of ever really feeling good is to get away from those negative influences. But the idea of quitting and leaving does not feel good either, because that could cause a lapse in your income, when things are already financially tight. So, you continue on unhappy and feeling trapped. If you could stand back a little bit, and see your career not as work that you're doing in exchange for money, but as the expenditure of your life experience in return for your joyful experience, then you would realize that many of the thoughts that you think and the words that you speak are not in alignment with that quest for joy. If you'll say, "Nothing is more important than that I feel good," you will find yourself guiding yourself to different thoughts, words and behaviors. The simple exercise of deliberately looking for positive aspects of your current work, and the people who work there with you, will give you an immediate feeling of relief. And that relief will indicate a shift in your vibration, which means your point of attraction has shifted. Once that occurs, the lower will cause you to rendezvous with different people, and even cause you to have different experiences with the same people. It is a sort of creating from inside out rather than the outside in action version that never works. From your simple but powerful premise of deciding that you want to feel good, things will begin to improve in dramatic ways. 157. What is holding back my career? Jerry, Abraham, what would you say to those who are moving toward their first field of employment or are making a career change and are considering things like income or growth potential, product or service demand and so forth? What would you say to them in trying to decide what direction for them to take? Abraham, the life you have already lived has caused you to determine the details of the experience you're looking for. And the perfect situation is already lined up for you. Your work right now is not to get out there and find the perfect set of circumstances, but instead to allow the unfolding of circumstances that will lead you right to a position that satisfies a myriad of intentions that you've come to through your life experience. In other words, you never know more clearly what it is you do want than when you're living what you don't want. So, not having enough money causes you to ask for more money. An unappreciative employer makes you ask for someone who appreciates your talent and willingness. A job that asks very little from you causes you to desire something that inspires more clarity and expansion through you. A job that requires a long commute in traffic gives birth to a desire for work that is closer to where you live, and so on. We'd like to convey to anyone looking for a change in their work environment, it's already queued up for you in a sort of vibrational escrow. Your work is to align with what your past and current experiences had helped you to identify that you want. It may sound strange, but the fastest way to an improved work environment is to look for things in your current environment that make you feel good. Most people do exactly the opposite by pointing out the flaws where they stand in an effort to justify an improved environment. But since the lower always gives you more of whatever you're giving your attention to, if your attention is upon unwanted things, then more unwanted things are on the way as well. When you leave one situation because of the unwanted things that are present, you find the essence of the same unwanted things in your next environment as well. Think and speak of what you do want, make lists of things that are pleasant about where you are, think excitedly about the improvements that are on the way to you, de-emphasize what you don't like and emphasize what you do like. And then observe the universe's response to your improved vibration. 158. I'll seek reasons to feel good. No matter how justified you are in your negative emotion, you're still messing up your future. Most of you have given enough thought to what you want to keep you happily busy for 10 or 20 lifetimes. But your manifestations can't get to you because your door's closed. And the reason that your door is closed is because you're so busy complaining about what is or busy defending where you now stand. Look for reasons to feel good, and in your joy you open the door. And as you open your door, all of these things that you've said, I want, can then flow in. And it is our expectation that under those conditions you will live happily ever after, which after all is that which you have truly intended as you've come forth into this career of physical life experience. 159. Do I want to or do I have to? Most people feel a stark difference between the things that they want to do and the things that they believe they have to do. And most put anything that earns money in the category of the things that I have to do. That's why the money often comes so hard, and that's why there's usually not enough of it. If you're wise enough to follow the trail of good feeling thoughts, you will discover that that blissful path will lead you to all things that you desire. By deliberately looking for positive aspects along your way, you will come into vibrational alignment with who you really are and with the things you really want. And once you do that, the universe must deliver to you a viable means to achieve your desires. 160. What if my pleasure attracts money? Jerry, Esther and I had no intention of receiving income from our work with you, Abraham. We were really enjoying learning from you, and we were thrilled by the positive results we were personally receiving as we applied what we were learning. But it was never our intention for our work with you to become a business. It was an enlightening experience or just playing fun. And it still is fun, but now it has expanded dramatically into a worldwide enterprise. Abraham, so, are you saying that as your life experience expanded, your ideas and desires expanded also? Jerry, yes. Abraham, and even though in the beginning you were not able to see or describe the details of how things would unfold, because it was fun and because you felt good, this became a powerful avenue to fulfill desires and goals that had been in place long before you met us or began this work. Jerry, that's right. My original intention in visiting with you was to learn a more effective way to help others to become more financially successful, and also I wanted to learn how to live our lives more in harmony with the natural laws of the universe, whatever they were. 161. I want my work to feel free. The secret to all success is keeping yourself happy. Many of you have been taught that your own happiness is a selfish and inappropriate quest, and that your real objectives should revolve around commitment and responsibility and struggle and sacrifice. But we want you to understand that you can be committed and responsible and an uplifter and happy. In fact, unless you do find a way of connecting to your true happiness, all of those other quests are usually just empty, hollow words not backed up by any true value. You only ever uplift from your position of connection and strength. People often say, I don't want to work, meaning, I don't want to go someplace where I have to do unwanted things to earn money. And when we ask why, they usually say, because I want to be free. But it's not freedom from action that you're looking for, because action can be fun. And it's not freedom from money that you want, because money and freedom are synonymous. You're seeking freedom from negativity, from resistance, from disallowance of who you really are. You're seeking freedom from the disallowance of the abundance that is your birthright. You're seeking freedom from lack.